BetterHelp is a good litmus test to find YouTubers that actually do research into their sponsors. Anyone remember the buy a tree to become a lord in Scotland? They seriously got like every other YouTuber to run ads for them. Most YouTube sponsors you see loads of are likely below average. Got to spend all that money on advertising instead of the product after all. For a non-American, BetterHelp felt a little too close to something you should be getting recommended your doctor rather than a YouTuber about. I'm out of the loop. Is it a good sign or a bad one? Most YouTubers don't care which sponsors they pick up, and frankly, with the amount they get paid, I don't blame them. It sucks, but the solution is to use your own judgment to decide whether or not something is worth getting. That way, the only losers are the crappy companies like BetterHelp dishing out 5 figures for no return. Do people actually watch the sponsor segments? I've always just skipped those. Who wants to watch that shit? And furthermore, do people actually consider whether or not a sponsor is any good based solely on what a paid YouTuber is saying about them? Behind the Bastards has talked about how they don't get a lot of say in what ads they have to run. Robert is still obligated to read print for BetterHelp, despite being well aware of how shit they are. Best he can do is mock his sponsors when he kicks to ads. And Manscaped. And basically any VPN. And Raid Shadow Legends. Come to think of it, Louis Rossmann is the only YouTuber I've ever watched who appears to do honest, ethical paid product reviews. If I wouldn't use it in my own repair shop, I wouldn't try to sell it to you guys. One of the YouTube channels I subscribed to had a Temu plug comment section was rightly vicious. Anyone remember Wen and Reardon from How to Cook That, a channel that regularly talked about dodgy YouTube practices and debunked dangerous life hacks? Shitty products took a sponsorship deal from Temu. Deleted the vid but never acknowledged or responded to the backlash. That was a letdown. A lot of sponsorship comes from companies like Stitcher. There are also usually not clauses anymore where the sponsored can't badmouth the service off show. I have definitely heard hosts of podcasts talk shit about BetterHelp off air. Dr. Becky is still shilling for BetterHelp, while hundreds of viewers leave comments complaining about it on every video of hers for months. I finally pulled all my support and stopped watching her content. I have not seen any YouTube sponsorship or advertising that carries any credibility in my mind. I especially hate certain popular YouTubers that do really crap jobs of telling the audience exactly how much of whatever service or product they are showcasing or reviewing is actually sponsored. Now that I think about it, I'm much more influenced by podcast sponsorship and advertising, but even so, there is a lot of low-quality crap out there. This video is Brew 10s10s10s10s. I don't particularly care what products they advertise though. I'm not buying any of it. On a semi-related note, I think Blue Chew using young adults to market to teens and young adults is super weird. If you can get it up naturally, you shouldn't take any trendy boner medicine at all. They should market to a much older demographic. Let me guess, Freeze Eye? Some channels just need the sponsorship revenue. And if they fight back by deleting comments who mention that BetterHelp is a harmful scam and keep taking their money, that's a really good way to know that they don't care about their audience's mental health or data that BH sells. Like, they're basically just saying you should spend hundreds of dollars just to a stranger who will trigger your past eating disorders or try to convert you into being straight and/or cis. Look into the whole cast media situation. Ouch, I thought Glenn Howerton knew it all medically. This is the one thing I can't get behind with cinema therapy. I love them so much, but they even double down on using BetterHelp as a sponsor. Yeah, my sister is a therapist who used to work for BetterHelp. She says it's probably the worst form of therapy possible, as it's weirdly anonymous and just hard to work with. So I'm tangentially in the industry. I do freelance camera work and do second and third camera stuff for a few different channels when needed, and have a bit of insight here. Ad buys in online media are getting very lean. There just aren't enough good advertisers wanting to buy ads on anything but the biggest channels right now. The fact of the matter is that unless you want a lot of the mid to low-level creators to disappear, you'd better get used to turning a blind eye and realize that most creators are scraping the bottom of the sponsorship barrel because they have no other choice. Honestly, at this point, if they run ads on YouTube, they're a scam. Ruined best ever food review show for me. Odd that god-awful movies and the scathing atheist podcasts hosted by some frighteningly smart and principled people still advertise BetterHelp. I can't think of a single YouTuber that didn't at one point promote them. It's very disappointing. That's why I wouldn't sign up for any YouTuber recommendations. Unless it's directly tied to them, most of the time they turn out to be shady. Johnny Harris' favorite sponsor. For all his usually biased deep dives and deep research into the subjects he covers, you would think he would research his own sponsors. Is that something only real journalists do? I use BetterHelp and my therapist is amazing, just like my former one. The app sucks, but that's my only complaint. 100 agree. I was mad disappointed to see Death Battle plug them. I'm glad we're asking more of them. But how is it a surprise that people will promote anything for money? TV, radio, the overall internet, etc., has always worked like this. I don't know why I would believe a YouTuber more than any TV show host. I follow a pretty good Venezuelan YouTuber. He can advertise whatever he wants and they could pay like shit, but the USDs to VES conversion is exorbitant. Sponsor block is a thing. Tired of being marketed to in general. Louis Rossmann and Bruce Etherboss are one of the only few people who do honest sponsorships nowadays. Who watches the sponsor part anyway? Who gives a fuck? Go get paid. It's all skippable anyway, lol. CinemaSins use it as a sponsor. I'm sure the guys mean well too. Ooh. Thanks, didn't know BetterHelp was a scam. Thank you up for posting and commenters. I see YouTubers talk about BetterHelp all the time and did not know. Do Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey do fucking live reads for BetterHelp on the Office Ladies podcast? I get not having a lot of control on ads if you're part of a podcast network like Earwolf, but they absolutely have veto power over live reads. I expected better. Plus they definitely have the popularity to be picky about advertisers. For me, it was when all the YouTubers started shilling Raycon earbuds. No fucking way I'm paying almost $100 for some mediocre earbuds. Or how desperate they are for pay. I've seen YouTubers I otherwise respect shilling for it. Look, it's a hard market, there's not a whole lot of money in being a YouTuber, especially in the middle tier. I'm not gonna begrudge them too much for shilling shit to make rent. How do you figure that? So if a YouTuber did their research on BetterHelp, they wouldn't endorse it, and we would know this how? My guess is that the sponsors are run through a conglomerate or they are stuck in long contracts. Several YouTubers that I really think are good people have them despite them going against their morals. Binging with Babish would absolutely not use them if he had a choice considering his more recent mental health struggles. I don't know. I have a big problem telling anyone who's getting money that they shouldn't be getting that money. Very much don't hate the player, hate the game territory. Bills have to be paid in this world. Not that anyone should use BetterHelp, that is caveat emptor territory. But small-time YouTubers don't feel like the villains. They always advertise on the No Sleep podcast. I am still considering using it. A good litmus test is if YouTubers have ads on their videos at all. If there is a pre-roll and 2 mid-roll ads on a 10-minute video with 30 seconds of content, you're not worth my time. If I were a YouTuber, I'd get the bag. It's your fault if you buy advertised products. Listen, I know what a shitty company BetterHelp is, but if they came to me offering $8K for a 2-minute ad read, you bet your ass I'm taking the bag. Why would I care about who sponsors them? They make most of their money from ads. The only time I really care is when their target audience is children.